Go. Hey, John, welcome to the show. As way getting started, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Really love all the content that you're putting out on LinkedIn and appreciate the time today. Basically, just sales leader. Pharmaceuticals is where I mainly kind of work. 20 something years in the industry of sales, some software sales, and joined a tuxedo business at 12, which is where a lot of my family business, running a business started from. It
Yeah.
wasn't a family business. It was actually a person that I knew in town, and they asked me to come and work for them. And it was an amazing experience, kind of learned all the ins and the outs of sales there. So
It
that's me
was,
in a nutshell.
what was that, in high school or college or
It was actually 12. So had to
12?
help out the
That's not legal,
family.
is it?
No, so it was off the books, and they
Okay,
were
let me
a,
take this down here.
yeah. Woo!
Uh-oh. 12 child labor laws. What country
Yeah,
was this? Yeah.
yeah. It was basically how to help out the family, and they were a family in the neighborhood, and said, hey, listen, we can, kind of put shoes and tuxedos in order and
Yeah.
help out and kind of keep going. And that's how I started in the business, watching some of the initial sales that they made, and upselling and helping customers and really keeping them in mind. It was amazing to be part of that experience, and then progressed all the way from there, worked all the way through college at that institution, managing the store, running the store. They had multiple stores. So it was an amazing experience for myself.
And so today it's pharmaceuticals. Who do you sell to? Is it
Yes.
individual practitioners or hospitals or?
In institutions and individual practitioners as well. We're focused, throughout the whole spectrum, really retail now. So at your local CVS and retail pharmacies.
That's a tough sale, isn't it?
It's a very interesting sale.
Yeah.
As you know, I didn't go to become a doctor or am a doctor, but
A
we have to,
pharmacist.
or pharmacist, but we have to go in and really educate and help the patients and help them communicate a story to their customer, right? So it's not even a direct sale. We're telling them
Right.
how
Yeah.
they should communicate to the person who's actually buying, which is a unique prospect in sales as well.
And what's the hardest part? Is it just getting the appointment, or do you do drop-bys?
Yeah, drop-bys, appointments, really, and that's kind of the focus of where my whole book kind of came into play was mindset, right? We are basically stopped by gatekeepers, institutions, even in a statewide or a nationwide protocol, that they don't let us in their institutions at all, right? So
Yeah.
it might take us 50, 100 times, sometimes 2, 3 years calling on an institution to finally get that appointment, and then making it successful and bringing value at that moment, so that we can book more appointments. So it's really tough. It's been getting tougher over the last, I would
Yeah.
say, decade. So it's definitely a mindset game, and it's who thinks they can do it and how they can do it is basically how you win.
So it's basically not giving up, being creative, understanding the long game.
Yes, and not being self-defeated. I think the most important thing, especially nowadays with all the distractions we have, whether it's social media, news, whatever there is out there, it's very easy to get that self-defeated mentality. And if you're walking into an account and they didn't see you for the last 472 times, if you saying there's no way I'm going to get in here today, guess what? You're not.
Yeah.
So it's having that attitude of today's the day, if not today,
Today's
tomorrow.
the day. Well,
And
you
really,
remember the first Wall Street, where he'd call the guy 365 days before he took the call. And he knew it was
before he
his
got to get it.
birthday. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's the type of attitude that the high performance teams, the high performance salespeople, in any industry, right? Whether it's baseball, sports, sales, teaching, education, whatever it is, those people who drive to, I can do it. How can I do it? If it's I can't, it's if when, or yes when,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
and
When,
and
not
that's what he
if.
did. Not if, just
Right.
when.
Right. If you have the if mentality,
you can accomplish anything, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what I learned. So my personal story is my brother was afflicted at a year and a half, had an adverse reaction, basically was rushed to the hospital, became mentally handicapped, and never could progress past 3 to 5, depending on what the tests were,
Yeah.
3 to 5 years of age. And seeing him as I grew up, he's 10 years older than me, and seeing him put 110% into eating, into trying to communicate, into whatever he had to do. And it was the basic stuff that we take for granted, right? And if we can get that mindset of, hey, if he can put 110% into communicating, if he can put
Yeah.
110% into eating, I could put 110% into trying to lock down this $1 million account that I make 10% commission on, right? Like,
Yeah.
it totally changes the value proposition for yourself. And that's really the main focus is, hey, we got a lot of challenges, but in the scheme of things, if we put 110% of our effort into it, if we can, you know, plan and really look ourselves in the mirror at the end of the day and say, I did the best that I could, usually things work out.
Yeah.
And your customer can see it, right? If you're really driving to that, your customer goes, you know what? This is a good person. He or she is there for me, for my benefit, for my whatever the customer. In this case, it's patience. If you're patient centric and you walk up to that physician and say, doctor, I'm here to help you. How can I help you? And if you really mean it and they feel it, the door's open.
Right. And counter-wise, they can also smell commission breath. Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
When you're all about you.
Yeah. There's nothing quicker than especially with social media and especially with everybody's a brand. It's even more smelly, as you say, now, because people search for authentic people.
Right.
Because our scope is so big now, you don't have to deal with somebody in California. You can deal with somebody in New York. You can deal with somebody in Japan. You can deal with somebody in China. So everybody's searching for people that really are authentic. And you can look it up. Look at their LinkedIn. Look at their social media. Look at their Facebook. Look at published articles, blogs, whatever they did. The wealth of information is it's so easy now. You can smell that out in a heartbeat.
Well, let's get back to that resilience or grit, or I'm not sure what word you use for it, but it comes up over and over when I talk to great salespeople. It's that determination. It's very easy once you get that rejection. Our little brain takes that as somebody attacking us.
Yes. Yeah. And the whole basis, there's a part in the book of negativity bias, right? So back in the day when you were a caveman, you wanted to help people stay in that cave, because if you left that cave, you could die,
You
right?
could die.
And that's where all this negative energy comes from. And it's trying to protect you.
Yeah.
It's trying to
Right.
help you, but we've outlived that mechanism. So that little voice that you have inside is coming from, there's pterodactyls outside.
Yeah.
And there's not anymore.
Right. And I think if you look at the timeline, humans have been around 200,000 years, but we've only dealt with strangers, people outside of our tribe, for less than 100, 200 years.
Very well said.
Right. Because we were
Very well said.
farmers.
Yep.
And farmers knew each other. Everyone knew each other, went to the same
Right.
church. If
Right.
someone came into town, whoa, who are you?
Whoa. Yep. Yep. And that's what we do on a daily basis, right?
Our
It's
brains
amazing.
haven't caught up.
No. And there's ways to program and respond to those red flags. And the best salespeople that I see instantly get when their customers either uncomfortable, or they can self-identify when they're uncomfortable,
right,
and make a change instantly. Because to your point, the first thing we have to do is be a trustful, education, value-driven person. To your point with the commission breath earlier, if we are not value-driven, if they don't recognize us, they don't trust us. And you have to instantly do that as a salesperson. And the best people, to your point, know how to instantly recognize themselves or the other person that there's a red flag here. How
Right.
do I kind of get them to be comfortable or understand where I'm coming from?
Right.
It's an amazing point.
And I think that that's a very counterintuitive skill, because we we believe we're trustworthy and trusting, right?
Right, right,
But they don't know us.
right, right. And we're walking in with everything and they have nothing, which is another, they feel, oh, I should know this, right? So then they get insecure, which drives it even further to be more protective. It is an amazing, I love how you just said in the last 100 years, because we're still navigating that whole process. And it's the time frame is so much smaller now with social media. With that, you can meet everybody like us right now, right?
Right.
Like this wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
Right.
And now everything's open that we can make these connections instantaneous.
Yeah.
So it's that, I love that point. That is an amazing point.
Right. Because I mean, we're even adapting it now, because you're looking at, maybe 100 years of the Industrial Revolution, where we went to a factory and we
Right.
worked with strangers.
Right.
But we would get to know them eventually. And
Yeah.
then the sales rep comes in and they're outside the tribe.
Right.
And
Right.
our caveman brain is saying, are they here to give me food or steal my food?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
guess what the automatic assumption is?
Steal my food.
Steal
They're
my
here to
food.
hurt me. Somebody's going to come in, or even there's another person, right? That now the food's less. We go from
Right.
10 people to 11. That means I get less of the Tyrannosaurus or whatever we ate. I mean, it's innately built into us to fear the outside world.
Yeah.
And
And if you look at, the caveman brain versus the conscious mind, it's like 90-10.
right,
Guess who's going to win?
every time, every time, every time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of built into us at a school, institutional level, college level, our parents, right? Don't
All the
talk to
time.
strangers, don't do this, don't go outside, don't, and here we are, the salespeople going, no, it's totally,
Right.
it's
Our
totally
our whole
okay.
job is talking to strangers.
Right. And saying we're okay.
Our friends aren't buying anything. Our parents aren't buying anything.
Right. Right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So, I read through your book. I mean, what's your approach to kind of conditioning that caveman brain to think about it differently, have a different belief, a different meaning to this?
Absolutely. So the main points that we really did a lot of research in were in brain chemistry and how to really focus on dopamine, oxytocin, really releasing these brain chemicals, endorphins. And you could do it if you're outside, right? You hear a lot of people talk about, oh, I'm an introvert who's in sales. Well, those people are really good at making goals for themselves and having little wins personally that their brain keeps firing. Oh, this was good. Oh, this was good. Oh, this was good.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, you get outside your comfort zone. All of a sudden, your comfort zone is your comfort zone, right?
Right.
There's no outside anymore.
Yeah.
So we really focus on the brain chemistry, little wins. The vision has to line up to your goals. Your goals have to be daily, weekly, monthly, and you really have to be accountable for all that, because that's how you're going to control your mindset and control the activity that happens. The other part that we really focus on with my teams is controlling what you can control, right? If you're an ice cream man and you're trying to perform heart surgery, you are going to be freaking out. Cortisol is going to be running. You're going to be stressed because you don't belong there. But if you're an ice cream driver doing what an ice cream driver, truck driver does, you're going to be in that dopamine reward cycle. You're going to be doing better goal setting, better vision, and you're going to be successful, right? So it's really understanding, okay, what's the challenge I have? How do I tie my vision and my goals to get individual wins? And how do I really control my brain chemistry to get that result that I want?
Yeah.
And I think that's what salespeople are. When you really drill down to what we do, we control our own destiny with our brain chemistry and everything. We don't get nervous, or we get nervous when we're supposed to, or we engage the way we should. And we bring out the brain chemistry in our customers to have the reaction that we want. We want them to get excited when they want to get excited. We want to get pain points and have fear when we want them to have pain points and have fear. We want to engage in all of that. So if you can kind of set those goals, control what you can control, it kind of is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You just go down and go, okay. And then the other aspect that I think way too many salespeople fear is failure. And way too many managers, I love when my sales reps fail, if they come and talk to me about it and we can learn from it, right? It's amazing to have that, hey, John, this, I don't know. And that's when they grow and can be the best they can be. So that's kind of the whole focus of controlling what you can control and having those chemical reactions both on yourself and your customer that you want to elicit, right? Most of the time we say something and you can tell when the customer's face goes and you're like, oop, that was the wrong reaction, right?
Yeah, they didn't, I didn't do it right, or they didn't get it, or they're thinking something else.
Right. Or
now,
go ahead.
Yeah, because the mistake or what people don't understand is that they think knowing this or even having a goal, got to have the goal, but our brain, especially our caveman brain, works off of emotion, which is hormones,
right?
Repetition,
yep,
and preparation. So you have to do it before you need it.
Yes. Yes.
So,
yes.
It can't be like the thermostat where you turn it up when you're cold. No,
right.
You have to every day. And
practice and prep. And even when you think you're prepared, really going on as well. I mean, I have a bracelet that I wear that basically I put on my goal sheet every morning, and I take 10 minutes just to meditate on my goal sheet. I put my bracelet on, and that kind of charges my brain all day. I need to be focused on this. To your point, there is no going back. There is no boop, boop, boop on the thermostat. No. Oh, I need more. If you don't have it, if you didn't prep, you're never going to be ready for it.
It's not there when you need it. It won't be there when you need it.
Right.
You got to do it. And you got to do it consistently, because our caveman brain is much more like our physical muscles.
Right.
Right. You can't just train the day before you go to the beach and take your shirt off. You've got to train the whole year.
Right. And you're always going to revert back to that, because that's what's in your 90-10. DNA. Yes. It's boom. This is where if I don't do anything, I'm going to revert back to this status and this mindset. And I have to set certain red flags in my vocabulary or my customer's vocabulary or my interactions to go up. You know what? I just took a step back, and I need to focus on whatever that goal was, whatever that vision was, whatever that plan was, to engage in that, to get me back on track. And it's okay to go back and forth, right? That's what's so great about life. You know, you can have 47 million losses, but that one win could be the one that you needed. So it's a great point.
And it's important, because too many people look at it like, I don't know if you know David Goggins, the Navy SEAL.
Yes.
You read his book and it's like, well, first of all, I don't want to run 100 miles all at once. That's what cars are for.
Off the list. Yeah.
Right.
That's why we get a car allowance or a car.
Right. And I don't want my legs to bleed. And I'm like, so I didn't find that very helpful. I think people get psyched by seeing it's possible.
A lot of people forget is, if you have a job right now, find things in your vision statement that line up to your job or your career or what you're doing, because chances are you can make this job what you want it. Yeah. You just have to have that right line of vision and line of sight to get you passionate about what so many times a goal changes, a message changes, marketing comes out with something else, and instantly, without even trying it, this is the most terrible thing that ever happened. Well, 5 minutes ago, it didn't exist. You didn't try it with the customer, but you instantly know it's the worst thing that ever happened, right? Go back to your vision statement. Where can I find in my goals that this lines up to my vision? And you know what? I can be passionate about this because of this. Yeah. And if you can do that to your point, every Sunday, you know, a lot of work's going into, my day doesn't start Monday, right? Everybody starts Sunday night prepping, getting ready for it, starting. Take that time to figure out, okay, where's what am I not happy about this week? What am I dreading? And how can I make that line up to my vision and goals and mission and get passionate about the worst part of my week? If I can get passionate about the worst part of my week, everything else is going to be awesome.
Yeah. And that's it. And I think sales, probably more than any other profession, is the roller coaster.
Yes.
And a lot of us also are kind of a little bipolar.
Yes. A lot bipolar.
Right?
Yes.
Because you get the order and you're like, holy smokes, that's a lot
It's
of money.
amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Or then someone hangs up on you and you're like, oh, what an evil person. Like, what did I
Yes.
do? And all of a sudden, we have to find a way of building that resilience. And it is a repetition, a daily thing, a daily practice. And what I've always noticed is, like, you look at like AA, there's people
Yes.
30 years sober, still go to a meeting.
Still practicing. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And even the baseball players, the highest professionals, anybody that you study who's made it, right?
Yeah.
They're in the cage 47,000 times practicing that one little thing that went wrong in the game. Why? Because they never want it to happen
They
again.
know how it works.
They know. And the top, whatever their craft is, you know, if you're doing it and getting 1% better every day, you're going to be in the top 1% of your industry, whatever it is. You know, I always coach, teach, and train my team and my kids too, and have that conversation. If you become the 1% of whatever it is, a garbage man, a pet shop, whatever that is, you'll be a millionaire because you're extremely successful at what you do. So it doesn't matter what that goal is, what that reach is. If you're driving towards it 1% better every day, 365 days, this year, 366, you're going to be 366% better than you were last year. You're going to blow out any goal possible.
Because I always used to, when you talk to a B player, they'd always, the same answer would always come back. I did that.
Right.
Right. And then
Right.
I try and explain, sales is a performance profession, much
Yes.
like athletics, how well you threw that baseball. Not that you threw it.
Right.
A 3-year-old knows how to throw it.
Right. There's a big difference.
There's a huge, it's a performance.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? How well you threw that basketball. You know, salespeople tend to think, well, I sent the email, I left a voicemail. It's like, right, but you know, there's so much performance to it. How well you gave that presentation, how you showed up, the questions you asked, the pacing you had.
The A players always, when they get done, right, they always ask, what can I do better? Right? Even if they close the sale.
Right.
Even if they close the sale and even, I love it. Here it is. You know what? I felt a little friction here. How would you handle that?
Yeah.
And, you know, you're like, you got the sale. That was an amazing. And they're like, yeah, I know, but this little part, it can help me. How would you do it? Or is there something I could read about? Or is there something I could research about this part? Because I just felt that this was off, right? Yeah. They're always looking for that little tweak because they know 6 months from now, the industry is going to totally change. And that one tweak might get them the next sale, right? So it's a great analogy for baseball players. They are always doing it.
Because we call on different people, right? What they care about and what they're interested in the state that they're in is very different than the last person.
Right.
They may be open and interested and they may want to talk about it, or they just don't.
Right.
And too many sales managers think that every prospect is identical. Right. Has the same likelihood of closing.
Right.
And as salespeople, we're constantly being put into this performance cage, and no one allows time for prep and reflection.
No, and I think that's the key, right? Anytime when one of my best mentors, when I went in-house for marketing and marketing research, said, block an hour worth of your time, whether that's before you even come to work or at work, find an hour and put meeting and go for an hour and you need to prep for either the meeting, the week, whatever it is. You need to have an hour to reflect, because how are you sharpening that saw? How are you getting better if your meetings are 80 hours a week of meeting straight and 5 minutes here and there for a bio break, and maybe you get a Diet Coke and that's it until you get to the next day, right? He's like, you're never getting better.
Right.
And you need to put that stop gap in there to practice, because you're not going to perform. You're not going to perform. You could play 9,000 games. Baseball plays 9,000 games, right? They still practice during the week. Football, okay, we're going to have a day off. We're going to practice. Even the Super Bowl is coming up. The championship games are there. They're out there practicing. They don't go, oh, well, we made it to the AFC championship, so now we don't need to practice this week.
Because once we get engaged with another person, we very quickly go to our caveman brain, a mammal brain. Because if you look at Mike Tyson's quote, it's like everyone has a strategy until they get punched in the face.
Absolutely.
Right? But guess what happens?
Yeah.
The subconscious takes over for survival, which is based off of hundreds of thousands of hours of training.
Yes.
He didn't learn how to fight when he came out of his mama. He grew up, and it's like, what are the boxing? Boom, hit that damn bag 1,000 times, because when you get punched, you're not going to like, oh, what should I do next?
Oh, yeah. let me go through my goal sheet, my strategy.
Let me look at my bracelet. Survive.
Survive. Okay. Yeah, it is so true. And the part, the Outliers book and everything that reviews that, of the 10,000 hours of practice. But the main focus that a lot of people forget is that deliberate practice, right? Deliberate. And we do that 1,000 times as sales reps too. We read something, or we role play, or we study the prospectus or the customer. But what are we getting out of it? What are we using? What's that deliberate practice to get to the next step? It's so crucial, and it's these little things that make such a difference.
Right.
Such a difference.
What do every company do? They have like a day or 2 day sales training.
Right.
Now they know it, but they're not doing it.
Right.
You got to do it, get some feedback, write it down, practice it, do it again.
Yep. And are you seeking out those people who are successful? Right. A lot of times, and it goes back to the caveman brain, right? If you're not being successful, who do you want to talk to? People who are also not successful, because you're like, oh, well, you're finding the same thing I am. You see, it's not just me. Oh, yeah, this is terrible. Oh, yeah, this detail piece.
Downward spiral.
But when you're in that moment, and that's one of the caveman brain red flags should go up. You know what? Who's at the top of the rank this week? Who's at the top of the rank this month? Who won last year? Let me go pick up the phone. Hey, you may or may not know me, but I really want to just see what you're doing this week. Maybe there's one or two pearls that you go, wow, this is totally different than my caveman brain saying I should stay in this little cave. Stay comfortable.
Think about
with the
today.
people.
Stay warm, well-fed, take a nap.
Well-fed. Right. Right. There's plenty of that later on when we get our yachts and we made all the commission. Then you can take a nap. But until that point, we got to keep hustling.
Now, a lot of people think you can't change that.
Right.
But clearly you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
what your brother went through, I'm sure you've had hardships, skill sets that you had to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's is it an I can't or an I don't want to, right? And most of the time when the rubber hits the road, it's an I don't want to. It's too hard. I'm scared to fail. And you have to have the EQ or just the belief in yourself to really be real with yourself, right? Nobody else is going to be as critical as you are. You are going to be your hardest component. So you have to have those self-talk conversations to say, well, is this really an I can't, or is this an I don't want to? And what's the reason I don't want to? And, if you roll that out and you go to the worst case scenario, it's usually not that bad, right?
It's never that. But what are they going to do? Hang up on you? Get out of here? Call security?
Leave. Right. I've been kicked
You're still
out
alive.
Of plenty of places.
But your mammal brain thinks you're being killed.
Right. Right.
That's the difference.
Humiliation. I'm all by myself. I'm alone. I'm kicked out of the tribe. All of those energies that have been built in our brain forever. If I go against the leader, if I go against the tribal leader, I could be kicked out, and now I'm by myself. I can't share in the food. I can't share in the wealth. I can't share in the whatever that is.
Yeah.
And it's a scary feeling, but we to your point, we the last 100 years and the next 100 years is going to be even
Oh,
faster.
look at the last 10 just with
10.
smartphones.
Unbelievable.
10 years ago,
Unbelievable.
nobody walked around looking at their phone.
No, now everybody's
Everybody looks around.
constantly.
They drive
Constantly.
around looking at their phone.
Constantly. I mean, it's amazing what we're going to be able to accomplish in the next 5-10 years. I mean, that's what I say to everybody. This technology has leveled the playing field, right? Back in the day, maybe you wanted to get into a Yale institution, or you wanted to get into Harvard to go sell those doctors. You maybe needed to know those people. You needed to know somebody that went to Yale. Now we have LinkedIn. Now we have Facebook. Now we have all these things that level the playing field. You can meet, greet anyone you want to. Gary Vee, one of my friends, said, "Can you go meet him?" I said, "Absolutely." And took me 3 or 4 months, but there was a shoe release party. He was there. I got a picture with him. We sat and talked for 10 or 15. 10 years ago, that would have never been possible. It would have took you years going through a Rolodex, figuring out all these different things. Now the playing field has been leveled with all of this, and you can do pretty much anything you set your mind to, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's it. And I've been making those silly, comical sales videos, but
Which is amazing.
What it did for my business is now people see me, they get to
You're
know me,
trusted,
and they like me.
right?
But they at least laugh, even if they think
Right.
I'm stupid.
Well, it's doing that exactly what you said, right? That caveman brain. Now you're in their tribe.
Right. I'm the friendly
Instantly.
guy.
Right. Oh, now you can make
He's
a
not
phone
trying
call.
to tell me what to do. He's making
Right.
me laugh at what I should do.
I liked his video. Oh, and he commented back on me. Oh my God, this is amazing. It's amazing. That's a perfect example of how LinkedIn, social media, whatever platforms you're using, instantly takes away that, oh, who is this? Are they here to
Right.
steal my food?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because I always use the analogy, two dogs meet in a park, right? They
Right.
typically bark at each
Oh,
other. Stay away from
right.
me, stay away from me, stay
Right.
away from me. They're not going to
Yeah.
fight. They
No.
just leave me alone, leave me alone. I'm with this guy.
Right. Right.
I got to take care of things. I'll be out of here in a second.
I'll get out of here. I'll get out of here.
And the dog who wants to play usually just rolls on his back, wiggles his butt back and forth, and go, "Look at me. Go ahead, eat my belly. I
Right.
don't
I'm
care."
good. Yeah. This is fun.
Yeah, I'm not going to bother anybody. I want to have some fun.
Yeah.
Hey, so why'd you write the book?
Yeah. I was basically just to show anything's possible nowadays if you put your mind to it. I'm sure there's some English teachers at my elementary school that'd
I'd
be
be
like,
shocked.
"Yeah, oh my God," and
I didn't
that's
even know you
part
could
of it.
read a book.
Yeah, right. Like, how did this happen? It must be an audio book, right?
It must be a coloring book or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So that was part of it. Is anything's possible, right? Put whatever you want to do. Get a goal that you say, "Hey, this is something that I think is impossible," and if you achieve it, the world's open. And that was part of it, just to show people, hey, listen, this is a different world we live in.
Yeah.
Technology, the ability to open a business, the ability to communicate like this, the ability to be on LinkedIn and build your brand and build something that's bigger than yourself. It's amazing to do. The other part of it is just to give a tribute to my brother. The stuff that he was able to do, and the attitude, the work ethic, the strength, how he brought people together without even knowing it. He doesn't care. Like, if he met you, instant hug, right? And that was part of it too, to tip my hat to him and say, "You've taught me so much about being human, being a business leader, being a salesperson, just by who you were." right? You never assumed context. You never assumed you knew better. You just went and wanted to help the other person in any way, shape, or form. And that was the first half of it. And then the second half of it is just, it's not as complicated as a lot of people are making it out to be
Yeah.
nowadays, right? As we get more involved in technology, as we get more involved, everybody has these, oh, well, if you, to your point, run 1,000 miles and, bleed from your knees.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? It's daily wins.
Small,
Everybody, yes, more
consistent.
consistent performance, 1,440 minutes, right, in a day, right? Everybody has the same amount of time to do what they need to do. And it's just being productive with that time. And this just gives you kind of steps and an outline to see, hey, you know what, it's not that hard as everybody makes it out to be, or I just have to put in the work, right?
Yeah.
Instead of maybe Netflixing for 2 hours this week, maybe I'll work on my goals for 2 hours this week,
Yeah.
and just being really constant. The distractions are endless, and
Right.
they're only going to get worse with everything that we have. And it's really, hey, we need to sit down. We need to focus. If you want to be successful, these are the easy ways to go about it. And if you don't, that's okay too, right? If you really enjoy Netflixing or fishing, or then enjoy those things. There's nobody judging you, but then don't expect to have
The
more
outcomes.
performance, right?
Yeah. Cool. And where can people go to connect with you and get the book?
Yeah, LinkedIn is the best way to connect with me. I also have Instagram at push pull lift. So push is push out negativity, pull is pull in positivity and lift people up. So I'm on Instagram there, and then Amazon's the best way to get the book.